The sails on a boat are like our lives. When they're working their hardest and accomplishing the most, they're full and quiet. But when they're struggling, they're flapping around, impatient, noisy and ineffective. It takes constant vigilance to keep everything in trim. Hi, we're the Lobbies. That's Ali.
And that's Paul.
We're exploring Australia aboard our sailing catamaran.
Along with our sailing cat, Scuttlebutt.
And you can come along for the adventure. We're Champagne on Ice. Hit the subscribe button to see our regular clips. As the days ticked by towards cyclone season, Airlie Beach was turning on the charm, making it difficult for us to leave this beautiful little town that had served as a home base during our glorious 3 months exploring the Whitsundays. But feeling the switch in the prevailing weather, we knew it was time to get sailing.
Before leaving Airlie, we celebrated our 16th wedding anniversary with a beautiful dinner overlooking the water. And the next morning we were off, sailing out of Pioneer Bay, past P&O's flagship Pacific Encounter, passing the tenders which were ferrying some of the ship's 2,600 passengers into town for a day trip.
Our stores were full ahead of many long days at sea, and a beautiful sunset seemed to wish us a bon voyage. This time we're using the northerly winds to island hop our way down the coast, doing mainly day sails, but with a stormy overnighter to Lady Musgrave Island before continuing down to Gari, Fraser Island and the Great Sandy Strait.
Along most of the Queensland coast, the islands are well spaced so that a reasonably fast boat can travel during daylight hours, stopping to rest each night. But the island anchorages are rarely calm, with wind and swell conspiring to spoil any chance of a good night's sleep. So it's usually up early and off on the next leg.
One place we did find some calm was in Island Head Creek, on the mainland south of Mackay. We also found a little stowaway. Hello, little guy. There he is. He's a little skinky. He's come inside the boat.
Oh, darling. Better get you before Scuttles does.
Hey, little one. Come on.
Don't you go up there.
Hey, come on.
Oh! Where'd he go?
Okay.
Oh, we were going to let him off. We're not near the land. Bugger.
After a bit of a chase, we eventually got him settled in the herb garden, and that was the last we saw of the little chap.
Lobby also did some hunting and gathering in the creek, bringing home a giant mud crab for dinner.
Puzzles, podcasts, books, sea and sky watching fills in the long travelling days at sea. The salty scenery slipped by and the sky turned on a show with a thunderstorm chasing us into Roslyn Bay near Yeppoon. What are you doing, Scuttles?
A quick stop at Keppel Bay Marina had us stocked up with fresh veggies again, the surplus getting chopped up and placed into freezer bags for the weeks ahead.
We fell in love with Great Keppel Island on our way north, but now heading south with opposite winds, we got to experience the other side of the island, and it proved just as charming. Well, I've done the usual plastic pickup today, but have a look at this. This has got to be the ultimate find for any beachcomber. It appears to be some sort of floating radio beacon. It's got a really sturdy steel base, a float around here, a transmitter with on-off switch. coming up to a big high frequency antenna which would transmit a long way. But what is interesting is that the markings on this thing are Chinese. So maybe it's to do with the fishing industry, or maybe they're secretly tracking the Eastern Australian current. But then again, they just have to watch Finding Nemo if they wanted to sort that out.
Okay, grab shell, dude. Grab it.
But it is fascinating to imagine where on earth this thing has been prior to it washing up here on Great Keppel Island. I've since learned that these buoys are used in long line fishing, where the line floats free of the trawler until it's retrieved days later. Leaving Great Keppel, we were super keen to visit Lady Musgrave Island, and being longer than a day sail, we decided to do an overnighter. The 166 kilometres would take us about 15 hours to sail.
There was the chance of a thunderstorm in the forecast, but we hadn't seen much storm activity in the preceding days, and the forecast wind was just right.
As we scooted along, enjoying the sunset at sea, some menacing-looking clouds started developing over the mainland, and later that night the radar confirmed that a rotten line of storms was headed straight for us.
The storm front packed gusts of 40 knots with lightning everywhere. We pulled the sails down before it hit and felt like sitting ducks for a lightning strike.
It was pretty intense and we got no sleep all night, but eventually dawn brought lighter wind and the entrance channel to the lagoon at Lady Musgrave Island.
Okay, so just kind of go in a straight-ish line, don't go too far to starboard, you should be right.
Lady Musgrave is a coral cay, 120 kilometres out to sea off Gladstone. As well as being surrounded by a sandy lagoon and fringing coral reefs, it's home to thousands of noddy terns who nest in the trees and share the parenting duties of minding the eggs and going out to catch fish for the family. Walking through their island home is like being in a green cathedral.
The beaches around the cay are mostly made up of coral and would be hard in bare feet, but the water is crystal clear and warm.
This is the little lighthouse on Lady Musgrave. It's only a small one, but it's very bright. And as we were sailing in overnight, we could see it from miles away, guiding us in to let us know we were on the right track.
A strange sea mist rolled in just on sunset one night, shrouding the anchorage in cloud, but then it was gone as quickly as it arrived.
After a few days exploring this unique place, we were off again, out through the narrow gap in the reef and pointing our bows south. There was just enough wind to put up the kite, which steadily dragged us towards Gari or Fraser Island.
Our arrival at Gari coincided with Melbourne Cup Day, so in the style of the late Granny and Pop Lob, we threw a little party, but missed the race by an hour because we forgot about daylight saving, which they don't have in Queensland.
It was all my fault. Next time, whoops, where did all the water go? We explore Rainbow Beach while we wait for our next weather window, catch some waves at Double Island Point, get wrecked at Tangalooma, and live it up on the Gold Coast.